Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another video. I'm super excited because I feel like I say that every video. Do I say that in every video? Comment down below if I say that before every video because I think I do. But anyways, I want to get into female narcissists, and really I want to talk about the covert female narcissists. So I get a lot of questions from you guys asking me, how do I spot this type of a person when I'm dating, if it's a friendship, like I feel like this person has traits, I don't want to diagnose them. I get comments from people saying narcissism is everywhere, why is everyone talking about it? And for me personally, I think it's great to educate yourself, but I don't think it's wise to just go around starting to diagnose everyone, since I'm not a professional to be able to diagnose someone, neither are you. And quite frankly, I feel like narcissism is such a gray area. There are definitely specifics that will help you know whether someone really truly has NPD, but there are definitely just some people that might have narcissistic tendencies, and just people that are toxic and unhealthy. So I think it's good to understand what's healthy, what's not healthy, so you can decipher not if someone's narcissistic, but really, is this person healthy, period. So before we get into this week's video, I am Stephanie. My name is Stephanie. I'm a life and relationship coach. If you have not already subscribed, please click the subscribe button down below and click on post notifications. That will inform you each time I do upload a new video with a brand new topic. So let's get right into this week's video. I love these types of videos because there are so many people out there that know a little bit of information. There are people that are just opening their eyes to really what's going on with this person. She seems a little odd at times, and I feel like something's wrong in this relationship, but I can't put my finger on it, and I feel like some of the things that she's doing is abusive. And because we didn't grow up in a world where we were educated on emotional abuse, narcissistic abuse, what does a healthy relationship really look like, whether that's a romantic relationship or friendship, because we don't really always understand these topics, I don't know why they're not taught in school, but that's okay. There should definitely be a life class in high school and college that you take that kind of educates you on so many things, but that's a whole nother video and campaign. But I think it's good to educate yourself. That way you know what are the traits of someone who is a covert narcissist. And if you have been diving into narcissism, then you'll know that there are different types of narcissists. And they all basically are doing the same thing. They're doing specific tactics that are categorized under what type of narcissist they are. So they use these tactics to get what I'm sure we've all heard before is narcissistic supply. Now, narcissistic supply is basically the ability to get things from the outside, right? Because I'm a taker, right? Because I'm unhealthy, so I'm a taker, and I want to take things in order to make me feel good. So I want to take things in order to give me what I want. I want to take things to make my self-esteem increase a little bit because maybe I'm feeling a little low right now. I want to take to control another person, ultimately to get what I want from that person. So narcissists in general are takers. Codependents, this is just a side topic, but so you guys can understand, codependents are the givers. So if I give, then I'm going to get. I'm going to get, love, admiration. I'm going to get you thinking that I'm a great person. I'm going to get where you never leave me because I give you everything that you need. So why would you leave me? You're going to love me forever, right? So it's the same thing that a narcissist is doing. The only difference between a narcissist and a codependent is the codependent has empathy, where a narcissist does not have empathy. But they kind of operate in similar ways. They just use different tactics. But let's get back on topic here. Covert female narcissists. Now, I'm sure we've all heard of the term overt narcissist. So the overt is very, extravagant. They're overly narcissistic. So you blatantly know that this person is full of themselves, that they have a grand ego, the world revolves around them. So it's very obvious in this person. A covert is more difficult to spot because they have the ability to appear to be like a normal, caring, loving, compassionate person. So the covert isn't going to have as many traits as what a typical narcissist or a overt narcissist would have. They're going to have these traits that you don't typically see when you think of a narcissist. So they're going to be a little bit more reserved. They're going to be a little bit more shy. They're going to be a little bit more sensitive to what people think of them. So like I said, they're going to appear to be a good-hearted, compassionate, loving person. So the female, you think she's the great girl, right? You think she's loving and thoughtful and caring. But there are three main points to the covert female narcissist that most people forget about. They love to play the victim, they can never handle criticism, and they are extremely needy. Now, those are like the main points, but there are other aspects to a covert female narcissist that we're gonna get into. One of the first things is, in terms of your relationship, you're always going to be the one carrying the weight. And what I mean by that is you can't ever expect a covert to do things like give you compliments. So you have to understand, why is this even a problem? Well, because in a relationship, there has to be that kind of give and take in a relationship, right? Like, I'm healthy and secure in myself that I can compliment you. I can look at all of your talents. I can look at who you are as a person, and I can be in awe of that. I'm not jealous of it, but I can be in awe. I can appreciate it. I can value it. And I want you to know what it is that I think of you and how I view you. Someone who is a covert is not going to be able to do that, because you're dealing with someone with an extremely fragile ego and someone with very, very low self-esteem. So if I'm a person with extreme low self-esteem, then in order for me to use the energy and the strength to build you up, it's going to make me feel even worse building you up, giving you those compliments, carrying the weight in the relationship here and there, because I don't have any of those things. I'm not a strong person. I have low self-esteem. I have a low view of myself. I'm really reserved. I'm really shy. I don't know how to be myself. I don't even know who that person is. So because of all of that, they really struggle with being able to kind of sit in a space for someone else and, let your partner kind of shine for a minute, right? That's the give and take, is we let our partner shine, then we shine, and we have this great kind of balance in the relationship. And someone who's a covert is never going to be able to do that. So you're going to feel a lot of emotional neglect in the relationship or you're going to feel like they're not emotionally there for you because they can't be there for you. They can't even be there for themselves. Now, like I said, you're going to see this person, you're going to see kind of their ability to be a normal person, right? You're going to see their ability to be loving and caring and things like that. But again, everything's an agenda. So there's a reason for why they're doing what they're doing. Because if you think about it, when someone just does something, free will, by themselves, you see who someone's character is. So when you see this kind of like performance that's being done, it kind of like triggers you to think, okay, this person always is loving and compassionate and there for me when they need something, number one, and them doing this and giving this performance, again, is narcissistic supply. So I'm going to give a little bit so you see that I'm a normal person, so you can kind of, I don't want to say fall into the trap, but just think that I'm normal and loving and caring, when in reality, none of what I'm doing is actually even genuine, because there's a motive behind everything that I do. Now, when we talk about being very sensitive to criticism, so what I mean by that is they're going to feel very humiliated by what it is that you're saying. They might get extremely defensive or just very dismissive with it. It kind of depends on the drink of choice. They might get very defensive with it. And here's the thing. Do any of us like criticism? No. But when we do receive it, maybe not in that moment, but later on, we can at least take a step back and ask ourselves, is this true? Like, what do I think about what this person said? Do I want to do something differently? And we kind of like do a little like self-exam at that point, a self-check-in, where someone who's narcissistic is not going to be able to do that. But something that screams covert is the victimhood. So someone who lives in a victim state, so this female, she thinks that the world's out to get her, that she's the helpless poor victim to every situation and circumstance that happens. And the reason why the covert plays the victim card so well is because that gets them sympathy. That gets them narcissistic supply. That gets them someone who is loving, compassionate to enable their bad behavior or their neglectful behavior, or them not being emotionally present in the relationship, like whatever it is. It forces the person that's in a relationship with a covert to look at the covert as like, oh my God, this poor person, look at everything that's happened to them. Whereas a healthy adult will say, absolutely, I will validate you all day long, that yes, it stunk that this happened to you. Yes, like life isn't easy sometimes and we're put in crappy situations, but it's time to get up now. We can't ponder in the mucky water of victimhood forever. So anyone that's really healthy would never fully enable a covert narcissist, especially the female who loves to play the victim, because they don't operate like that themselves. They might validate their own feelings, but they don't live in a victimhood state. Now, again, the victimhood could be, woe is me, I'm not good at this, I'm not attractive enough, like this is never gonna happen for me. And if you're not aware that this is the type of person that you're dealing with and you're a loving, caring person, you might feel like it's just innately your job, especially with someone who is highly empathetic or highly sensitive. If that is you, be on the lookout, because your nature is just going to want to give. Let me boost you up. Let me help you with your problem. I can't believe that this happened to you too. Oh my God, you're the poor victim. You're going to come in and try and save the day with this person because you're looking at them as the victim. You're looking at them like, oh my God, you do have a problem and I can help you solve it. No, no, no. You're not weak and pathetic. You're not unattractive. And you will find it your job constantly boosting this person up, and it becomes extremely emotionally exhausting. Now, the female covert tends to be a little bit more shy. So when we think of like an overt narcissist, then you're going to think of someone who is very, I always think sexuality plays like a big factor with female narcissists, because that's kind of how they hook in men, because men are very sexual, right? They're more logical than emotional. They tend to be. There are definitely women that are more masculine than feminine, but for the most part, if you think about a man leads with one area. And so they tend to, love that sexuality in a woman and that confidence in a woman. And she knows that. And so she's going to lead with that. Now, with a narcissistic man, he's going to know that women tend to lead with their emotions. So he's going to come in and be Prince Charming. He's going to be super romantic. He's going to be thoughtful and caring. He's going to be very attentive. He's going to give all the things to the woman in the very beginning emotionally that she's ever wanted in a relationship. So this is how both the female and the male tend to hook in their victim. When it comes to a covert narcissist, it's going to be a little bit different. She's not going to be overly confident. She's not going to be overly sexual. She's going to be a little bit more reserved. She's going to be a little bit more shy. But you will start to see over time, because again, this is a very hard thing to spot, and you can see why. It's very obvious with someone who's overt. Maybe not even that obvious sometimes, but with a covert, it can be really, really tricky. And what you have to do is over a period of time, start to see patterns within people. That's why I always say the most important thing that you can ever do, you can educate yourself on this stuff all day long. When you work on yourself and you become healthy, when you meet someone else, if they're not at your level, you are not going to want to deal with them or be attracted to them. So when you are with a covert and they're playing the victim, yeah, you might be highly sensitive and you might be very, very empathetic, but you have learned that the victimhood, it's not my job to fix your problems. It's not my job to come in and save the day. It is emotionally draining for me to do that. So the more you work on yourself, the more you will avoid these types of toxic relationships. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and please share it with anyone who you think might benefit from this information. If you are interested in private coaching, I will link that down as well. I am offering private individual coaching sessions for the month of April, only for the month of April. So if you are interested in booking a session with me, I will link everything down below where you can schedule your session today. So if you have any other questions, don't forget to leave a comment down below and I will see you next week.